Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to this week's episode of the 13th Floor Podcast. I am Cece.
I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And today, James, what are we talking about on the show?
We're talking about ghosts.
It's been a while since we've done a spooky ooky ghost episode. Talk about the ghosties.
Yeah.
Scare you more than the mosties.
Even though Alex does not believe in oogly booglies.
Not buying it.
James, do you
I think
believe
y'all
in them?
hallucinating.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very confident there's something.
Yeah, but listen, we might have new listeners that don't know James,
fair,
okay?
Fair.
So,
this is a good point.
Yeah. If you are new to the podcast, number one, thank you for tuning in. Number two, James is a believer. I am the in-betweener, and Alex is the skeptic for all things ghost-related. So, we're going to be telling just random ghost stories. But before we get to that, James, how have you been? I feel like you've had several of your spiders molt since we last spoke.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's pretty much molted now except for Milkshake and Noir. And Noir's a glacier, basically, so that's why.
Are they just lazy? Like,
No, it's their species. They're just really slow to grow. Like, that is crazy to think about. I've had Noir since 2018, and they're still just an itty-bitty baby.
how old does that make Noir? I can't do math. What is that? 8?
7.
7. Wow.
7-year-old spider, still a baby.
Your spider is the same age as our daughter.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Our
man.
oldest.
Yeah, our oldest. Wow. Well, are you guys ready for an icebreaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is just a random one. Doesn't have to do with ghosts. It's not really on theme, but I want to
Favorite
know.
frozen pizza.
Yeah, Alex is sitting here complaining about how he wants a frozen pizza. I swear.
They called me. They said last time I went. They said, "Hey, pizza man."
Yeah, Alex will go to the gas station every once in a while. And
Oh,
he
of
walks
course,
to
it's the gas station.
Yes, the gas station.
But it's a frozen pizza from the gas station. All right.
he
They have a
walks-
freezer.
He walks
The
into
gas station workers probably have a Deadpool for Alex.
Yeah, well, he walked into the gas station at like 11 o'clock at night to go get a pizza. And they greet him by saying, "Oh, hey, pizza man, we haven't seen you in a while."
I was like, I don't come here that often.
So that's
Goodness.
Alex, where Alex stands in his life right now. No, I want to know, what is just a really weird thing that you do that you have never told anyone before?
What?
Yeah, just something you do in your life that people might not necessarily expect. And I'll go first, okay?
What do you do?
When I make food for my children,
You lick it first.
no, I do not lick it first.
What?
I will cut a little piece off, and I'll eat it myself.
Oh wow.
Because I'm worried that
Okay.
what if I give them something that makes them sick? And then I realized the other day, I'm basically like a poison tester. Like a royal
That was my
poison
first
tester.
thought. I was like, this is like a poison taster, yeah.
Yeah, I do it literally every time. And I was just making them lunch the other day, and I'm cutting little bits off of their strawberries and blueberries, and I'm eating little pieces, and I'm like, I'm a poison tester.
Weird.
You know what's funny about that?
What?
Before you go down and prep the food, I lick all of it just to make sure you don't get poisoned. Before.
You drive me up the wall. But I want to know, Alex, what's your thing that you do? You've got to have some habit that you do regularly that you're like, oh, this might be weird.
Habit I do regularly.
I've got one idea.
What?
Go to the gas station and get pizza at 11 o'clock at night.
Hey now, I think that's normal. I think all of our listeners can agree. It's mostly normal to do that.
No.
Oh, well, James, you go ahead. I wanted to think on this. I'll find something.
Okay. One weird thing is I do count things that I don't think people are supposed to count. I don't really think about it. Like, I'll be, for example, just pour myself a glass of water, and I'll count how many seconds it takes, not thinking about it, to fill the cup up. Or I'll be, like, cooking something, and I'll count as I add, like, pasta to the water. there's no logic to it. There's no metric where it's like, oh, well, I know how much I added. Like, no, I just count for some reason.
You just count. Do you count steps when you go down steps?
Sometimes.
Okay, so the water's more important than the steps.
Yeah, my sister actually counts steps, like, pretty consistently when she goes up and down stairs.
Sometimes I'll count the steps, but that's an odd thing, James.
Yeah. And I count it out loud, too, and so I catch myself, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'll be pouring water into a cup. I'll be like, 1, 2, 3.
Well, James, I've never seen you pour water before, is what that makes me realize.
No, we don't.
Even though you stayed at our house before.
Yeah.
I guess I was not paying attention while you were getting
Shameful
yourself some water.
secret.
Embarrassing.
Alex?
Uh,
He's looking at me with fear in his eyes,
no,
James.
I'm just so normal. That's the problem. I'm just so.
He's got some dirt he doesn't want any of us to know.
What's something I do?
Listen,
Wow.
we're just gonna have to rule him out. He's boring.
I don't count. I've found out I can only have 2 cups of coffee, not 3, or I get too tired. I don't know.
Well, then
I don't like sitting still at work. There you go.
that's not weird.
I'm bad about that, where, like, if I'm at a place, I often get apologized to, where they're like, sir, we're sorry, we'll get to you very soon, just because I look fidgety and impatient. And I'm not mentally being impatient. I just look like I can't sit still, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that's... they've said that to me several times, so I'm fine. It's fine. But yeah, I like to sit still. It's my ADHD.
All right. There's Alex's weird thing. Well, James.
Sorry, guys. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it's a little bit upsetting. I was hoping to learn something new about you today,
You really thought that I was going to do it.
but instead we just told everybody about your deep dark secret of going and getting frozen pizzas.
There you go. More
Listen,
important than anything. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
it's creepy, but you know what else is creepy? Ghosts. Woo! Yeah. And James, I'm gonna go first, okay? I'm gonna steal the spotlight. Chiplets.
It can be stolen. If
Okay.
It's given.
Yes, it can.
Oh,
James didn't openly give it to me, so I'm stealing it.
okay.
But James, dear listener, gave us a list
James is the listener?
of... No, listen,
Oh.
I'm talking to our dear listener.
Sorry.
James gave us a list of ghost stories to cover, and he told me to do the Cock Lane ghost. But I don't know, James. I was not vibing with that story. So I gave it to Alex, and he's going to talk about it. I think he's going to deliver it more gusto than I
Okay.
would have, and give it the...
You have to remember, I'm pizza free, so there's only so much goose to this.
Yeah, we'll see.
Man.
We'll see how he does. He's gonna give it justice, but I have instead chosen to share the story of a ghost that actually did give me chills when I was reading this last night. Last night I was doing my research and getting all my notes together, and I was downstairs alone, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm like, oh, and the back window was open, and I got creeped out, and I had to go sit in the corner away from the window. Yes. I am talking about El Silbón from Venezuela / Colombia. Yeah. Have you ever heard of El Silbón?
No, I wonder if it's like La Llorona,
Well,
which we
I'm
haven't
hoping-
covered, which is kind of shocking.
I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing that right, but it translates to the Whistler. And in some stories, his name is said to be Alonzo.
He's a cat caller.
Okay,
No, he's-
not La
Listen,
Llorona.
young
Okay.
women.
He's whistling, okay? But listen, the story goes that a young man, he's called El Silbón, lived with his papa, but not his papa dearest. Oh no. Yeah, they were not on good terms, he and his dad, because his dad was an alcoholic. He liked to drink. And his dad was not a kind person at all. He was very, very mean to his son, and then eventually his son snapped. El Silbón snapped. He took his pop strip and murdered him.
Oof.
Yeah, he
he
killed
snapped his pop.
He not only did he murder him, he also took out his guts
Oh.
and wrapped them in a cloth,
Oh.
and then he was going to carry them off to bury them in the woods, as one does, I guess. But not surprisingly, this act did not sit well with God.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
God didn't like it.
Yeah.
So El Silbón was cursed for all eternity.
Well, yeah.
Because thou shalt not kill, especially...
That's how that works.
Yeah, especially not your parents. You're encouraged to honor your father and mother, and he did not do this. Alonso said no. So, as a consequence, El Silbón was condemned to roam the plains of Llanos, Llanos, forever, carrying a sack, not just filled with his father's remains, but also the bones of any other person he might kill.
Might kill? Oh,
yes.
I got you.
He's a ghost. He's an angry ghost, okay?
So his punishment was to be allowed to kill more.
No, it's not his punishment. His punishment is carrying around all of the corpses, but he's got a taste for blood, I guess. After he killed his dad, he's like, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, it's addictive.
So did he die?
He's cursed. Maybe he died in the curse. I don't know. It's a legend.
This is a legend.
Yeah, it's a ghost legend.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I understand now.
Okay, so you thought I was coming from like, oh, this actually happened.
Yeah.
And it may have, I don't know. But it's a legend. It's a myth in the area.
Interesting.
But legend has it that El Silbón is still out there whistling. And he's apparently, it's a two-note whistle, so it's like, woo!
So he's a bird.
Yeah, there you go, James. Or they said it sounds like doo doo.
It sounds like Mario Paint sounds.
Well, listen.
Yeah, it does.
And this is the thing that's so creepy. If you hear the whistle really loudly, sounds like it's right next to you, that actually means he's far away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of creepy. That's kind of creepy.
Yes. If it's loud, he's far away. But if it's very quiet, it means he's right next to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's spooky.
Yeah, so the closer he gets, the quieter he whistles. He's going to grab you, he's going to throw you in his bone bag, and he's going to carry you off. It's psychological warfare.
See, if I was him, I wouldn't want to do that, because you get to carry it all around all the time.
You think so. Listen, he's cursed. He's cursed.
Mm.
He's supposedly wearing some baggy shirt and a straw hat with a wide brim that's covered in blood.
Oh, that's
He's a big Jimmy Buffett fan.
Yes, it's a picture that I had in my brain. But I feel like this won't surprise anyone. The story of El Silbón is a very popular tale for parents to tell their kids so that they won't wander away from home or stay out too late. And they'll say, if you don't hurry back, you'll meet the Whistler. Which that would have scared the shiznit out of me when I was little. It creeps me out now, and I'm in my 30s. Just the idea of him like whistling very quietly, and it's like, oh, he's gonna kill me. Yeah, but the reason this story captivated me is because most ghosts are visual. Like, you see an apparition, you see the lady in white floating down the hallway. This is an auditory ghost, so you don't see him until
you just get he's disappeared.
Yeah, you just boop, you're gone. You hear the whistle, and then you're done.
Wow. That's scary.
I think it's creepy.
It is.
Very.
Yeah, so how do you ward off El Silbón? Because there are ways. Apparently the locals do things.
Pass gas.
That might work, I don't know. Listen.
It's going to be hard to whistle.
The first way that they do it is confusing him by driving through a crossroad.
What?
They confuse him by driving through a crossroads and then throw their car in reverse and back through the intersection again. And the moving sound going back and forth apparently confuses him because he's trying to listen for you. And that's how he gets you. So, I feel like it's a little unsafe to just blindly back through an intersection, but...
Yeah, that seems more dangerous than whistling ghosts.
Well, it's an option if he's following you, okay? And then, alternately, locals also supposedly use protective herbs. So they might hang a sprig of rue in their doorway or sprinkle some salt around the door. And the idea here is that the smell can break his curse or send him away. But some people, obviously, this is a legend. Some people dismiss it and instead say that it's maybe the sound of wind whistling through reed hollow beds or hollow reed beds in the area. And that can mimic a two-note whistle. So
That makes sense.
yeah. But there are, in this area, they have tours where you can go and, I guess a ghost tour of the area, and they'll occasionally blow the little whistle. Wee woo. That would have scared me. I'm sorry. This for some reason, this ghost story, it's been a long time since I've heard a ghost story and not been like, oh, I've heard this one before. I'd never heard this one. And the whistling from far and close just had me go, ooh.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Have we
Look
ever
outside.
talked about how I can whistle with my throat?
Yes, we
Yes,
have,
yeah.
James.
Okay,
It's been a
I just
long
couldn't
time.
remember.
That's bizarre. Now, no, do a 2-note whistle from your throat. Can you do that?
Oh.
I think so. Oh, hang on.
Oh.
That's- see,
that
that's-
was spooky.
If I heard that in the middle of the night, really
Yeah.
close to me, I would poop my pants.
Hmm.
All right, James.
Spooky.
That's enough. That's enough about El Silbone. Who are you talking about, Alex?
Me? You already told everybody.
I did.
I'm doing the cockling ghost lady.
Let's
You
hear
ready
it.
for this?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm
All
ready.
right. All right. So this took place 1762. A modest house by Cock Lane. Now, these people weren't rich that lived in this house. What? You know,
I'm sorry, just the way that you're
my
saying it.
presentation.
I'm expecting it to be like you're speaking in rhymes.
Yeah,
They were
a
not.
chimney sweep or
I should have
something.
written that in rhyme. I should have.
Yeah.
All right. So this is this is a street in London. This takes place now. There's 4 figures that are in this story. William Kent and Fanny Lynns are people that rent from these other characters. Richard Parsons and Elizabeth Parsons. So they're the owners of the house where William and Fanny move into with them. Now, there's also a maid, Mary Fraser. Okay? Remember these names?
I'll
'Cause
try.
I'm going to be referencing them pretty often.
Okay.
If you need an update, you can ask me.
All right.
Okay? So, Kent and Fanny rented a room from the Parsons in 1760. And while they lived there, Fanny got pregnant, but as things happened in the 1800s, she got smallpox and died.
I'm sorry. I thought that Fanny was his girl squirrel / and Elizabeth was his
What?
wife who died.
Oh my goodness, we're 5 seconds in, I already got them all confused.
Yeah.
All right, so William Kent and Fanny Lynns, they're the duo. Richard Parsons and Elizabeth Parsons are the ones that own the house, all right? The Parsons house, the tenants. Why are you looking this up?
Because when I read this, I got it completely different.
Well, that's why you didn't cover it, because you can't read, apparently.
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh.
All right. So, Kent moved out. So after she died, Kent's, he's sad, and so he just decides to leave, and he leaves very quickly. Once he what?
Nothing. That's just a little
no. I'm
shady.
looking at Cece. She thinks that she's gonna
Listen. Okay, this is what
ahead
it
and read
says on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Following the deaths
Kent.
during childbirth of Kent's wife, Elizabeth Lines, he became romantically involved with his sister Fanny.
Well, that happened somewhere else. Oh my goodness.
I think that
No, Elizabeth Lyons never lived in the house.
I know she died.
It wasn't his sister. It was his sister-in-law.
No, it's his sister-in-law.
It's a sister.
Fanny. No, her sister.
Oh, okay. Now
Lord
I get it.
have mercy.
Now I get it.
This is like a who done it, except it's just who did anything.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Who done anything?
Cece,
I'm so confused.
so William Kent was with. This doesn't matter to the story, by the way. Was with Elizabeth Lyons. Elizabeth dies, and then he goes and lives with Fanny, Elizabeth's sister.
Okay, all right.
All right, he's moving around the family. He's picking up all the single ladies in the family, but that doesn't matter to the story. All right.
Okay.
So good thing I covered this topic because you would have had this whole incest story that never happened.
I know.
All right. Well, anyway. So, all right. So he gets Fanny. Thank you, Cece, for ruining this. So
Do you want to start over?
no, I don't. I want you to keep that in.
I was gonna say, like, let's keep all this. This is fantastic.
He gets Fanny pregnant, but she dies of smallpox. Kent then moves out very quickly from the house, and that's when these things start to happen at the house. Kent's gone. The Parsons are the only ones there. So these events start to happen in 1761, and the Parsons start hearing weird knockings and these scratchings in the house. And particularly near where Elizabeth had stayed, and then Fanny had stayed. Now, these noises were initially attributed to a cobbler working next door. They thought they heard someone working.
Someone making shoes.
Yeah. But then they persisted even after the cobbler died. So everybody's dying. Everybody up and died. Everybody got the smallpox.
No.
The Parsons claimed that there must be something supernatural because they weren't able to explain what was happening. And he decided to name the ghost Scratchin' Fanny.
Scratching Fanny.
Yeah.
They do make medicated ointments for that.
Yes, they do.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So by 1762, the Parsons had, talked a bit about Scratchin' Fanny and began telling people about this ghost, and they were claiming that it was communicating, and it was able to answer simple yes/no questions with knocks and scratches. So kind of what I saw it described as is kind of like a seance type thing, right? Like knock once for this, knock twice for that, and so that they were able to allegedly communicate with Scratchin' Fanny. So, but the problem here is when they talked to Fanny, is Fanny told them that Kent had poisoned her with arsenic, and that's why she had died.
So the ghost ratted out Kent.
Yep, saying that Ken poisoned her, and that's why she died. She didn't die of smallpox; she died of poison. Which is,
I feel like you would know if somebody had smallpox.
you might, but maybe you get over the smallpox, and a little poison just knocks you over the edge.
Just pushes you.
Yeah.
Did they take the word of the ghost?
Of course they did. So what else are you gonna do in 1760s? So this ghost, it starts conjuring everybody's imagination at the time. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody's like, "Whoa, this is so cool!"
It's quite frightening.
A little scary, but mostly cool. And so everyone's buying into this story. And in London at this time, people are really into spirits. But because of the Enlightenment hitting right about now, and a lot of these ideas, there's a lot of skepticism about the story. And so, while this thing is spreading like wildfire through London via newspapers and all kinds of things, crowds start coming, and wouldn't you know it, they start charging for people to start visiting the house. Oh, we always get a little suspicious when money's involved.
Miss.
So they charge admission for it, and they turn the haunting into a profitable spectacle. What a great idea. And so part of the intrigue is A, the spirit, but B, also the accusation about Kent and the scandalous murder that's being solved from beyond the grave. And so people are really just into it. Now, again, Enlightenment's hitting right around now, so there's a bit of a second thought some people are having. And so there was 3 prominent figures that really investigated. I'm going to be frank, none of their names really matter. But these 3 men went and investigated the Parsons. Mm-hmm. Now, they tested it under rigorous conditions. They would send people away so that nobody could do knocking from other walls, making sure that they could... They noticed that it was really hard to replicate the knock when they observed things closely. So, say Elizabeth Parsons is moving in a particular way. If they're staring at her feet, they notice that the knocks don't come when they're supposed to. Or if they send Fanny away, sorry, not Fanny, the maid, Mary Fraser. If they send Mary away, they notice that the knockings aren't quite when they're supposed to be, or occurring at all. So, pretty quickly, they find and tell even the police that, yeah, this is fake. When we observe these settings very closely and we have the people around excluded from the environment, nothing happens.
Yeah.
So there was legal consequences when they were found out. So the Parsons were tried for conspiracy to defraud and falsely accused William Kent. So there's a detail here that I left out about why they would do this.
Did they just want to evict him? Get him out of the house?
He was already out of the house. He left.
Oh, you're right.
But he left so quickly he forgot to pay. He didn't pay rent.
So they just did that because he missed a month of rent?
Yep. They did it because he missed some rent.
Did they...
Now, these people aren't rich. They are very low income, kind of poor.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were well off when he left, but I would say there's a pretty fine line between getting your money back and then charging someone with murder.
Yeah.
And so they find that the Parsons are guilty, and that they only did this because of Kent and his unpaid rent, and they fabricated everything to extort money and ruin Kent's reputation.
Man.
So the evidence suggested that that they coached people to produce noises and were tapping on wood, and just doing the things you would expect them to do for fake, if you had a fake ghost, right? And so Parsons was sentenced to 2 years in prison and got 3 sessions at the pillory. But apparently, the town liked him overall, so he didn't really get pilloried. And they felt bad for him because he was poor. He was poor.
Man.
And so he didn't really get it too bad at the pillory.
If this had happened today, I can just imagine these people, putting this stuff on social media and be like, oh, it's ghosts. Yeah.
Looking
for that.
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Yeah.
But his wife got a lighter sentence, and the maid got a light sentence as well. And some other people were fined because apparently they were involved as well in promoting it, and everybody knew it was fake too. But Kent was vindicated because later he got to proceed legal action against them and won as well. Man. So
wow.
Yeah.
What a wild ride.
Yeah.
Thank you for
scratching Fanny.
Yeah.
You think they
Fun fact,
Fanny? Would Fanny mean butt back then in London?
I've wondered that, where it's like, when did Fanny mean something very, very different actually in modern Britain, and which the ointment joke still works, but I do wonder when that became normal.
Because I'm wondering if that was an additional insult or something in a way.
I doubt it. I think that was just her given name, so I don't know when that became a slang term. Yeah. But fun fact, one of the guys who debunked them was Samuel Johnson.
Oh, so it was an important name.
Oh, yeah. In addition to being incredible polymath. I mean, he did everything. He wrote plays, criticized books, wrote sermons, biographies, editing. I mean, just everything. Poetry. Really, really fascinating dude. But he's also famous in the modern era for like I'm sure you guys have seen it, even if you're not placing it. You might want to look up Samuel Johnson. He's the guy who has like become a meme where it's like if somebody's incredulous about something or skeptical, they post his portrait. Because in his portrait, he just looks like super scornful and confused.
See, I'm looking him up. Well, James, who are you talking about today?
Samuel? Oh, who am I talking about today? I'm talking about the Knights of Oliverg, and this one's going to require a little bit of backstory. So, man, yeah, where do I even start with this? So, back in the day, and by back in the day I mean like the 1350s, there was a young girl born in Denmark, heiress to the throne, named Margaret. And when she was about 6, she was engaged to Håkon VI, who was the youngest son of the Norwegian king, Magnus IV. Now that's important because she's in Denmark and Håkon is in Sweden. So as part of this, she ends up being queen of both Denmark and southern Sweden. So, okay, that's cool. But then some of the nobility oust her father-in-law and her husband, and they actually want this other guy to unite Sweden named Albert of Mecklenburg. So there's a lot of bad blood between these two as a result. And it's super dramatic. It's like straight up Game of Thrones stuff. So fast forward a couple of decades, she actually becomes regent of Sweden. And by the way, little backstory, she was a fantastic queen. She was very energetic, very diplomatic, very cautious when she needed to be, but also very bold when she needed to be. She was a really, really fantastic monarch. But anyway, 1388, she is actually appointed regent over Sweden. So now she has control of Denmark and Sweden. King Albert, who, as we previously mentioned, replaced her father-in-law and husband, all of a sudden, these dudes, these wealthy aristocrats in Stockholm, start supporting him and paying him and saying, hey, go to Germany, get mercenaries, get troops. You can fight this. And so Margaret hears about this and she decides, well, if that's the case, we're going to siege Axevala, which is a big castle right between their territories. And really everything just starts escalating from there, and a lot of people starved actually because of the nature of warfare back then, where you would siege a fortified area and not let people in and out, and so they'd start starving. But King Albert eventually got even more troops, and they finally actually had a straight up battle, and this battle took place east of Falkoping, in a place called Oslo. So that's part of the ghost story. But what ended up happening is, well, a couple of disasters happened for Albert. One, his German mercenaries got stuck in the mud on their cavalry. Turns out this was not the best terrain for horses. So that wasn't good. And then one of his knights, young new knight, Gert Snakeberg, he gets scared and runs. And this is why, by the way, throughout military history, if somebody runs, you're allowed to shoot them in the back, which, this was before firearms were common in warfare. But, I mean, George Washington shot a lot of soldiers in the back, for example, because this is what happened. He gets scared. He runs off. It's like his first time being a knight on the field. As a result of him running, 60 other knights ran. So it routed an entire group. As far as the battle goes, this just blows my mind. You had 1,500 Danes and 1,000 Swedes. Only 8 knights in Denmark. What are you guys laughing about?
Just how nonchalantly you tossed out the name Gert Snaper.
Gert.
That is a funny name. That's fair. It is actually his name. Yeah,
You just threw it out so nonchalantly, and it struck me,
goodness.
James.
No
sorry.
worries.
I'm not laughing
No,
at
it's
you.
okay.
I'm laughing at poor Gert. Or maybe Gert really is proud of his name. I don't know. If
I
you're
was gonna.
listening,
Well, he shouldn't be because he really lost the whole war for Albert. Frankly,
it's because he was named Gert Snapeberg.
Snakeberg.
Golly.
But only 8 Danish knights were killed, and only 20 Swedish knights were killed. So it was not like some devastating loss, but it was enough to where Albert lost. Margaret won the day, and it was very history-altering kind of battle. But that leads to the ghost story. So those knights who died, again, just 20 of them, there's a legend that they are actually trapped in the Oliveberg Mountain, and they're waiting for a new war to wake them up so they can fight to save Sweden. And also, that same mountain, guarded by trolls, literal trolls, like
Literal trolls.
Scandinavian, like troll hunter trolls, not internet trolls. So I think that's really cool. And according to Horace Marryat, who wrote a story called 1 Year in Sweden, they mentioned 2 things. And it's a little condescending, so just be aware. The peasants still have tales of the golden coats of armor worn by the German knights and pretend, when wandering after nightfall, to have met the spirits of the warriors, especially before time of warfare. And in their second story, around the walls of a vast chamber lay sleeping cavaliers with golden armor hanging above their heads. From behind, a young gentleman heard the sound as of horses in their stable at night, though he did walk very softly with his iron-nailed shoes. Some of the warriors awoke and asked, "Is the hour yet come?" So this is kind of a cool ghost story because you're talking about knights who are, haunting a mountain lair. It's very Skyrim. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this particular ghost story is because I can't resist talking about, these common cultural threads. That is a super common folkloric trope, archetype. I don't know what the word would be, motif, called the king asleep in the mountain. And we see it, for example, in sort of Rip Van Winkle, because, it's a guy who sleeps for a really long time, even though he's more of a hero, folk hero, I guess you could say, than a king. We see it in The Lord of the Rings, which this probably, like the Knights of Oliveberg, probably inspired Tolkien, where you got the ghosts in the mountain that fight for Aragorn. You see it in a lot of stories about King Arthur. That's a super big example. King Arthur goes to Avalon and he sleeps until he's needed by Britain, and one day he's going to come back with Excalibur and his knights and save England when it needs it the most. There's a Scottish version of Thomas the Rhymer, similar thing. He's buried under a hill with his knights, and when Scotland needs them most, he's going to come back. We hear about this in almost every country, really. I mean, it's everywhere. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about that is, one, it fascinates me how common it is. It's the king asleep in the mountain is super, super universal myth. But I wonder if there's a reason for it, and part of that is a denial of a really larger-than-life figure dying, because it occurred to me that we actually have a 20th century, and it's bled into the 21st century, version of the king asleep in the mountain. Can you guys guess what I'm talking about?
I have no idea. Alex, you go.
The Yeti.
I'll give you. I'll give you a hint. They're not a monarch, but they are a king.
Boy.
Elvis.
Oh.
Elvis, guys. Elvis isn't dead. He's coming back. He's going to drop a new album any day now.
Oh my gosh.
Elvis.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to think about that. Elvis is a king asleep in the mountain.
That's odd.
It's the same thing.
I would have never guessed that in a million years, James.
Elvis.
I like it, James.
Yeah.
Wow.
Spooky.
Spooky ooky. I feel like these were fun stories today.
Yeah,
even
they
though
were
I appreciate you setting me straight with the Cock Lane ghost.
Yeah. I was like, what's all
That's what happens when I try and read ghost stories at like 1 a.m. And I'm scared of El Sabon being outside my window.
Elsa.
Listen, I'm a human, and humans are allowed to make mistakes. All right, James, listen. You guys, stop it. I feel like I'm just being judged.
You are.
Alex, who does our music?
Our music is by Grant Cook. You can find his music on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to music.
James, how are we signing off today?
Word to the wise, Elvis is still out there. He's actually a preacher.
There you go. Keep an eye out for Elvis.
And next episode, we're going to be talking about mummies. This was requested by Brandon.
Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, well, next week we're talking about mummies. Until next time, though, we hope that you can keep it strange.
Keep it strange.